the White House tonight, President Biden has ordered the feds to stop sending offenders to private for-profit prisons, saying that corporations should not be allowed to profit from incarcerations. John Schierick explains that the state legislature could now look again at eliminating private prisons here in Georgia.
Private companies that build and run prisons under contract with the Georgia Department of Corrections and with the federal government speak of how their facilities provide safe and secure, evidence-based rehab for the inmates.
I feel like the sky's the limit for me.
But critics like President Biden
Good afternoon, folks.
say the companies profit from mass incarceration and are less successful at helping inmates reform than federal and state prisons are. So now that the president has signed an executive order stopping the Federal Bureau of Prisons from contracting with for-profit prisons, Georgia State Representative Scott Holcomb of Atlanta says he's going to try again to ban the state from using for-profit prisons too.
They were an experiment, but they were an experiment that has failed. They are an experiment that has cost more. They're an experiment that incentivizes the profit of incarcerating human beings, and I think that's wrong.
Georgia contracts with 2 companies to run 4 private prisons at a total cost to the taxpayers of some $170 million a year. And the companies insist they're well worth it. One, Core Civic, says, "We aren't the drivers of mass incarceration. We are working hard to be part of the solution, to prioritize rehabilitation and redemption." Sarah Tantanchi of the Southern Center for Human Rights in Atlanta says the president's order should set an example for Georgia.
He is sending a message that the profiteering off of caging human beings is going to stop.
Representative Holcomb says he expects to submit his bill to ban private prisons in Georgia, possibly next month.